Welcome to Three Witches and a Druid podcast, a Canadian podcast about paganism in today's modern society. And now, Three Witches and a Druid podcast present Sencha.
She's always been a lady, but we treat her like a whore. Taking, never giving till it's gone. Our greed is never ending, always wanting more. Never satisfied with what we've done. We throw away our garbage, we throw away our pain, we throw away our children, we throw away our shame. We sacrifice the future, but we never take the blame. Gaia cries, Gaia cries. One day when it's all gone and she's nothing left to give, when we've left her drowning in her tears, maybe when the time comes we will find a way to live, turn to love and sacrifice the fear. We throw away our garbage, we throw away our pain, we throw away our children, we throw away our shame. We sacrifice the future, but we never take the blame. Gaia cries, Gaia cries, Gaia cries, Gaia cries.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Three Witches and a Druid, where we sit around talking about our everyday lives as modern pagans in our community. Right now, we have quite a timely subject to discuss. I am Margot.
And I am Maeve.
Gwen.
And I'm Brian. So yeah, we here in Halifax are currently experiencing a fairly large, out of control wildfire just outside of town. Here in Nova Scotia, there's 4 or 5 other wildfires taking place?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
So there is currently a complete ban on all fires within the province. And it's so bad that they banned going into the woods.
Yes.
Yeah,
No one's even allowed in woods. Now, I do remember having bans like that in the past.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
I remember no fires, but
Yeah.
never not even allowed on, provincial park walking
Right.
trails.
Yeah.
I remember
no.
that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
new
over
for us.
COVID, they banned you going outside. Don't go outside. But like a lot, I'm seeing a lot of people on social media. It's like it feels like 2020 all over again.
It kind of does.
Yeah. So my crafting involves a lot of burning wood. I've had to stop.
Right.
Like it's all propane, and I'm sure it'd be perfectly fine, but I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
And,
stuck.
we have friends who have been evacuated. Not that their house is in danger, knock on everything that is
They're in the
holy,
borderland
but
areas.
the air quality is pretty bad.
Yeah, and so today, the day we're recording, what's today, the 1st?
Yes.
Yeah, June 1st. It's supposed to be 32 degrees and no wind, and they're expecting the air quality to be the worst
Yeah.
been yet.
No wind will be good, though, for
Yeah.
fire control.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a lot more than 5 fires, but 5 are out of control. 5
Yeah.
are the ones they feel like they haven't
Well,
got
and
a handle on.
the one down on the South Shore towards Barrington is so large that it is larger than all of the previous forest fires we've ever had combined.
Yeah, it's
for the
biggest-
last 10 years or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
since they've been counting or something.
Yeah, it's over 10,000
insane.
acres or something.
17 at the
Wow.
last count.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yesterday, it
Yeah.
was 17,000 hectares. Now, compared to other provinces, that may not be a lot, but percentage of land
I think
mass.
Alberta right now has 72 forest fires or
But
something.
Alberta's about 3,000 or 10,000 times bigger than
Yes,
we are
yes.
per
Yeah.
force.
So percentage of
capita,
land mass,
it's
this is huge. And
Yes.
the one that we're dealing with here, just in the Halifax region, is that it is so close to such a large populated area.
Yes. So, unfortunately, a lot of homes have been lost, and luckily, though, no lives have been lost.
Yes,
which is
very
amazing.
fortunately.
I don't know if any of you follow the Find My Pet on Facebook.
I can't.
Well, actually, there's a lot of if you want a good feeling,
Yes.
that's the group to follow right now because all the pets are being found.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's no stories and I say this, no stories of anyone not finding their pet, and it's a lot of like heartwarming, like,
Right.
oh, we found Gertrude and we found the 6 horses.
Well, I know Sunday night they had just let all the horses from the riding stables and everything just run free. They had to just release them.
Yeah.
And I could not sleep thinking about these poor horses running around terrified. Well, I guess they're all been found and reunited and
Yeah.
everything's fine. And now I can relax because I was just distraught.
And there's a story of the lady who owned the dog kennel.
Yes.
She ran 3 kilometers through the wood because the police wouldn't let her in.
Yeah.
Because it was so bad. She ran 3 kilometers through the woods to get to the kennel to let the dogs out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the flaming woods.
Yeah, through the flaming woods.
It wasn't
and
just-
all the dogs survived. They all got it.
Yeah. Well, there was
And she did, and no first responders are harmed. So it's inspiring, and you can see it in big screen movie, story. And also, it could have gone terribly wrong.
of
She
course.
could have lost her life.
Yeah.
She could have killed first responders trying to
Of
save
course.
her.
Yeah.
So I always hesitate to lift those stories up too high.
Yeah, that's fair. But I feel like after a certain age that if you you should be able to sign a piece of paper that says, I'm willing to go run into the fiery woods. And
Do not come after
do not
me.
come after
I
me.
don't want
I
anyone taking-
I consent to
Yes,
giving
I
myself
agree.
back to nature. I'm going to go save
And
the
I
dogs.
think this person genuinely would have.
Oh, yes.
Which is 100%.
Yeah.
There was the cutest picture that I saw of CP Allen High School. There was like 3 horses grazing on their sports
That's
field.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, there's some horses.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy business.
So this brings us to our topic of
Yes,
this episode.
We're going to discuss alternatives to fire in ritual. So as a druid, our entire ritual pretty much focuses on fire. If you were into fire, druidry's for you because it's all fire. Fire, fire, fire. Burn it all.
Burn it. Yep, burn it all.
But yeah, there's times of the year, like right now, where we haven't had rain for 3+ weeks, where you probably can't really just have a fire inside, and you need an alternative.
Well, generally, we don't get the really, really bad forest fires here traditionally because Nova Scotia, for those people who are not quite sure where it is, we are on the very east coast of Canada, stuck out in the middle of the North Atlantic, and it usually rains for most of April and May.
Yeah.
And people are going, oh, the weather's so magnificent. Well, guess what? When it starts raining again, like it has for, 3 million years, people don't complain.
No.
Because this is why it hasn't rained.
Yeah.
And my lawn is already crunchy in places. It's crazy.
So I asked a couple of different groups their ideas and thoughts on alternatives to fire during ritual. And I think Gwen has some notes and Margot has put some lot of thought into this. So what are some of the ideas that you guys came up with?
Well, when I do ritual on my own, and when we've done some small, very intimate rituals, I've done rituals where we don't use any candles at all, even for the quarters, but use other symbolic representations. And I have a little tiny sculpture, made out of Themo or one of those types of things, of a dragon.
Okay.
Sitting in a shell. And since we're in the East Coast, the shell is very important. But this dragon is my fire, my south quarter call for a lot of things that I do. And then, of course, there's a lot of crystals that you can use to represent fire as well.
Yeah.
Come every time of year like this, I think, when Halloween comes back around, I'm going to get one of those little battery-operated cauldrons with the fan and the fabric that looks like fire.
Yeah.
And then every Halloween I forget and then don't get one.
I think this year we may remember because that idea has come to me too. I remember in public elementary school, you would do plays or something and you would make these fires that had a light bulb and tissue paper and everything. You can get crafty and creative and have different options that way. But like you say, you can also substitute things. And there are a lot of elemental correspondences for fire. For instance, the sun is, planetary. So maybe you hold your ritual at midday or close to midday when the sun's at its zenith, and you invoke that element of fire, that representation of fire into it. Different colors, all those colors of fire, using those. There's lots of different visual representations that you could use.
Even those they look sort of slightly like little votive candles that have the little battery in them.
Yeah.
I don't have too many of those, but I do have one that could be used. I would probably, as Margot said, I would probably use a ring of crystals associated with fire to put something in the middle of. Yeah, that would be a good one. You guys are covering everything that was in my mind.
So some of the ideas that I found that I thought were really interesting and different, things I didn't think about. One suggestion was that if you're using fire as a representation of creation and destruction, you can use a Buddha board. Buddha board is usually a slate or a chalkboard. You can write on it and then water will erase it. So it's a form of creation and destruction.
Well, I think the Buddha board you write on with water.
Yes. And then
the water evaporates and it disappears.
So it is using a different element, but it was still an interesting idea.
Yes.
Another one I had seen on Reddit is if you were looking to remove, sacrifice any affirmations or anything that's written down, use a shredder.
True.
That's a good idea because shredders are metal.
Yeah.
Metal are forged, metal's forged in fire. Another one would be, and I tend to have a lot of, spicy things in my house, any herbs or spices associated with fire.
Yeah.
Cayenne and all, curry and all of those things that are associated with fire. And your rituals smell good.
Yeah. Another thing that was suggested by Dan, a Grove member, was individuals painted and dancing. Of course, that conversation took a different turn and everyone just assumed they would be naked. But
And that will be our next episode,
Yes.
Ritual Consent.
the idea would being that that somebody else, a person could represent
Yes.
the fire.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
That's right. Paint even if it was just on the face and the arms,
The
paint
arms,
people
Yeah.
with the different colors
'Cause
associated with quarters.
That would be very similar to the time that we did the 3-element ritual at the gathering with our big flags.
Oh, yes, the flags.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
my head is turning now, Gwen. Since we have a
Ideas.
ritual to plan.
Yes, there we go.
Oh.
So, have you got more, Brian?
No, go for it.
I was just thinking, and that's something I was thinking about earlier too, was are you using fire in a ritual? What's the purpose? Is fire to support the intention and the purpose of the ritual? Is it just associated with a direction or that elemental
Calling that
feel,
calling,
that sort of
yeah.
thing? Like you say, if it was because it's about transformation, you had lots of options.
Yeah.
But fire is also often associated with courage and those sorts of things. So maybe another correspondence is the planet of Mars, and you could instead invoke Mars instead of using fire. You
Yeah.
could. We're here currently, always since, the dawn of time. There's red agate here. There's red agate in Nova Scotia.
Buckets of red jasper, too.
And red jasper, and those are associated with the element of fire. Think about those things that are local to your area that are associated with fire, and red agate, jasper. They were used by Romans. The soldiers carried them for courage. They were made into talismans for courage. So things that have already associations with fire and with the intentions and purposes, whether they're just lots of things that fire can be invoked for
Yeah.
confidence.
It doesn't
blessing,
always
and
need to be
that-
literal.
Yeah, exactly.
And bells are always good. Metal bells.
Yep.
Metal.
Metal
Yeah.
bells are always great with fire.
Yeah. Another, and obviously, I wouldn't do this right now in our current situation, but alternative fires are often a little
Yeah, we
safer.
can't do that right now, but
No.
like a propane.
Propane or an
butane.
alcohol, butane, etc. That's how we did. We used to do a lot of indoor rituals. We would use butane or alcohol
Yeah.
in a larger hall, not in a small enclosed space. You got to be careful because they get super hot, but the chances of them spreading to a different fuel source is much lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
sparking
Or-
up. Yeah.
Having been in PEI too, thinking about pottery that's been, put through
Fired
kilns
itself.
through a
Yes.
tree
Yeah.
2 or 3 times. It could then be a vessel that embodies the element of fire as
Especially with that red clay and PEI, all filled
Yes.
with iron and all of that. Yes.
And now after me talking about my little dragon, I look over in the corner here. There's a big, giant, stuffed red dragon.
Fiery red dragon. And other mythical creatures, salamanders, like the window
Yes.
at
Yeah.
the university here with the element of fire.
Yeah, salamanders are very much associated.
I guess also you could just do like a meditation where you invoke like a guided journey, where you invoke the element of fire into you and how you experience it in your breath, in your body, in your mind, and those sorts of things, and do that as a group. And the other thing, fire is associated if you're somebody who has an embodied practice with your solar plexus chakra. So maybe focusing on a strong solar plexus, on a chakra clearing and cleansing, and that.
Or if you were looking to use fire for transformation to the phoenix,
Yeah.
Yeah.
invoking the phoenix. There's a good one.
Yeah. So there's lots of alternatives, and it doesn't need to be literal. In the end, what's most important is that your ritual is safe. It's a safe place for everyone to attend, and don't burn down the woods.
I always joke that any ritual, because, there's long sleeves and there's cords and there's this and there's feathers, any ritual where no one catches on fire, I have always say
Is a good
is a
It's a
successful
successful.
ritual.
Yeah.
But also remember, even if you're burning, a little incense cone,
Yeah.
when you're burning any kind of incense or herbs, you have both the air and the fire element.
Yeah.
Because, the fire burns it. So if you're just burning a little incense cone, there's fire in that too.
Right. Exactly.
Well, that is our advice for everyone. And if you had any further ideas, you could always send them to us on our Facebook page. If you had any questions or comments, productive and polite, you certainly can contact us there as well.
Hello, beloved listeners and patrons of Three Witches and a Druid podcast. We would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support of our podcast. With your encouragement, we have been able to explore and celebrate the rich and diverse world of paganism and spirituality. We feel blessed to have had the opportunity to share our knowledge and experiences with you. As we continue to grow and evolve, we invite you to join us on this journey and become a Patreon member of our podcast. Your contribution will help us to continue creating quality content and provide you with more exciting episodes filled with wisdom, insights, and a little enchantment. By becoming a Patreon member, you will not only support our mission, but you will also have access to exclusive content, behind the scenes goodies, discounts, and much, much more. Together, we can create a thriving and supportive community. To our amazing Patreons who have been there to support us through the past 3 seasons, Sybil, Josie, Catherine, Nicole, Amy Beth, Tomlin, Samantha, Stephanie, Chris, Ramos, Eric, Karen, Highland Horde, Danny, Tania, Sarah, Kay, Linda, and Jennifer. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of our Three Witches and a Druid family. Let us continue to inspire and uplift each other, and may our collective energy bring light and love to the world.
So, and we'd like to thank everybody for listening. And as we are here in Nova Scotia, and we're saying it yet again since 2020, everyone stay safe. And until next time, merry meet,
Merry part,
and merry meet again.
Blessed be.
This has been Three Witches and a Druid podcast. Thanks for listening.